Hi everybody and welcome to the first ever video on this channel. There's currently a clip that is circulating around social media and it's basically four Moroccan women having a discussion about child marriage in this country. Now before I dive into this any further, I will show you the clip really quickly and then I'll be back.
I am very much against underage marriage. I do see this as legal rape.
Why 18? Why we call underage someone who is 18? Everyone becomes adult, reaches the puberty at a certain age. We don't have the same age for that. And in that case, why should I stop someone who is 17, 99 days from getting married? No, that makes no sense.
Do we ever hear about underage boys getting married to women? It's really only about underage girls, little girls, kids who are girls. A lot of girls coming from rural areas only get married because there is a promise of a better life in the city.
We say that a child of 15 has the freedom to wear whatever she wants. If she's grown up enough to decide what she wants to wear, where she wants to study, what she wants to study, why she can decide about her personal life.
Now, this clip is from a debate on BBC between four women. However, the reason I am making this video is because of these two women. Because when the other two got asked questions about several topics, their responses were pretty much fine. These two, on the other hand, let's just say that there is a lot to unpack.
So my question is, do you think tradition in Morocco helps or hinder the progress of young women today? And how can we find a balance between preserving cultural identity and embracing development?
Hello everyone. I see that tradition must be something that reinforce women in Morocco based on the relation between religion and the tradition in Morocco. We are at the end an Islamic country. We have some general rules, but that doesn't stop women's to do what they want. At the end, everyone is have his freedom, but your freedom ends when my freedom starts. If everyone do whatever he wants, if every woman be wild, it's not gonna be something that give harmony to our society.
Okay, so that was the first question, and her answer wasn't like, didn't really answer the whole question. All she really did was say, oh, tradition is really important to keep women from being wild and promiscuous. Yeah, because that's really all they're fighting for. It's not like they're fighting for their basic rights to, I don't know, access education, be able to express themselves, and not get put into situations they don't choose to be put in. And while tradition does have its like beautiful parts like clothing, food, practices, all that, and that's cool and all, but the bit about keeping women from running wild is just straight up ridiculous, because if it weren't for the fact that some people decided to gather around and reject those cultural norms, you wouldn't even be sitting down and expressing your opinion in front of a bunch of people. Let's move on to the other lady, and I am hopeful that she's going to give a well thought out, coherent answer, because she's a university professor. She's dedicated her life to teaching others, so I'm sure that answering a question that's easy as this won't come off as difficult, right?
So a part of our traditions actually empowers women and give more rights to the women long before the Western societies did for their women. So no, as a Moroccan, I can proudly say that traditions have been helpful to women, empowering women for decades. But we had some issues regarding these traditions, especially when they start misusing them. They can be men, they can be women themselves. Like, for example, a relationship between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. Real traditions, real Moroccan traditions frame this or shape it in a very respectful way. However, women themselves choose to act differently and start making issues for their son, and then create some issues with the daughter-in-law, and hence the problems comes, and so the woman became the enemy of a woman. So it's not always a men's issue.
So I was editing this video and there was a point that I wanted to make, but I didn't know how to word it properly. It's because a certain tradition gave you certain rights at a certain period of time doesn't mean that there isn't room for any more progress. So just because a culture did give you certain rights doesn't mean it's not inherently oppressive in itself. Also, people's characters and routines and their beliefs and their whole daily lives tend to progress over time. So it wouldn't be productive to rely on something that's been given like centuries ago. And her second statement, well, again, it is true to an extent, like because she said how women sort of create problems for their daughters-in-law. And the point she was trying to make, how basically women uphold the system that oppresses them, which is true and unfortunate. However, the way she puts it, it sort of like projects all of the blame on the woman and sort of takes away all of the accountability from the men, and basically from the whole system that has been created by men and has been put in place to subject women to centuries of oppression.
My name is Aziza and I work with a non-profit organization in rural areas in all around Morocco. There is a lot of child marriage cases. So because of the loopholes in the family code in the Article 19 and 20, when it gives like the approval for a judge to say yes to a marriage of a young girl just because one of her parents, they want her to get married. So I believe that the family code must change, and we must, like all of us, said no to child marriage with no exception.
Oh boy. So the question she asked here is basically what led to basically the birth of the viral clip I showed you at the very beginning, and what made me exactly compelled to make this video. And before I get into what these two lovely women have to say, I just like to point out the fact that this is even a topic that's like up for debate is straight up embarrassing. Because quite frankly, this really shouldn't be a matter of are you for or are you against. Child marriage is not okay, point blank, period.
I always have issues with the limits. For example, why 18?
You're right. She's right. The legal age of marriage shouldn't be 18. It should be more than that. At the very least, like 20 or something. Unfortunately, though, that's not gonna be her answer.
Why we call underage someone who is 18? Because in the 1980s, the United Nations agreed on that. But why? Does it have to be the same for everyone? Everyone becomes adult, reaches the puberty at a certain age. We don't have the same age for that.
Hey, so I hate to break it to you, but puberty and adulthood are not the same thing. They're not synonymous terms. An adult is somebody who is prepared to go out into society and to learn all about all the upsides and downsides of it. And that age is particularly way further from the age one gets their puberty. Most people reach the age of puberty from ages 9 to 12. In some cases, some people even get their puberty at the age of 5. That is a rare case, yes, but it's not a really tiny percentage. You know what? I'm not even gonna go with that rare percentile of the 5-year-olds that get puberty. I'm gonna go with the percentile of 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds. So do you seriously, in your heart of hearts, believe that someone from ages 9 to 12 is a full grown that is ready to go out into the real world and have an understanding on how society works? Of course he wouldn't. You know why? Because that is a child, which means if they're not ready for all that responsibility, guess what? They're not ready for marriage either.
And in that case, why should I stop someone who is
1799 days
from getting married?
Ooh, that is not a good look. I can tell you that much. Not a good look. You've already embarrassed yourself by saying anyone who gets puberty is basically an adult. And you could have at least softened the blow a tiny little bit by saying, why should I stop someone from getting married if they're 17 years old and 364 days? You could have softened the blow by a tiny little bit if you said that, but no. 17 years old and 99 days. Great, because apparently a year has 100 days.
Is almost there. No, you can't marry today, but you can marry tomorrow. No, that makes no sense. We should try to see that the person who is involved in that marriage is willingly entering that marriage, and he's financially capable of, emotionally capable of, psychologically capable of getting married, and then why not?
Because they are a child. Also, she said financially capable. How is a child? Okay, I'm assuming that she's talking about the grown adult that's getting into the relationship with the child. They should be financially capable. Yeah, because that's the part that matters the most over here. I really tried my best to approach this with an open mind and listen to their points of view and look at the full context from the video, but unfortunately context is not helping you much over here. Okay, so that was her argument. Let's see what the other girl has to say.
Okay, so I may be a little bit extremist about that, because at the end, when we see you talk about rural areas, it's always economics problems that cause this marriage. In this situation, we can't really blame this marriage. They are looking for a good life, maybe.
Okay, so while yes, a certain family or a certain group of people's financial situation does lead to these kind of marriages, which is very true and unfortunate. However, that doesn't mean that these marriages should not be blamed and that there's inherently nothing wrong with them because, oh, it's the financial situation. Yes, the financial situation thing is true and it is unfortunate, but that doesn't strip away how morally wrong child marriage is. Because the truth is, when a grown adult says, oh, I have a certain sum of money, I am going to marry your child because I'm going to provide for her and I'm gonna make her live a better life. Of course she's gonna be tempted to marry that person because for the promise of a better life. However, there is no way that that person who is willing to marry that child, not a woman, not a growing woman, a child, the grown adult that wants to marry the child with the intention of living a better life, that person is not well-intentioned. That person is simply a sick predator.
But if the man is wealthy, if not wealthy, it's if he's capable financially, if the woman can do the child woman can do what she should do.
Okay, so no, not woman, not child woman, or whatever fantasy world La La Land term you just created. No, it's a child. That is a child that is getting married to a grown adult. They are being robbed of their childhood for the promise of a better life that isn't actually going to come. And it's only a trap that unfortunately they're going to fall for because they are vulnerable to a very unfortunate financial situation, which makes it easier for predators to sort of prey on their situation and their vulnerability.
In the meantime, we say that a child of 15 has the freedom to wear whatever she wants.
Okay.
If she's grown up enough to decide what she wants to wear, where she wants to study, what she wants to study, why she can decide about her personal life.
Okay, so the decision of what outfit you're going to wear is not the equivalent of the decision of marriage. Children as young as 6 can decide which outfits they want to wear by themselves. And yet, guess what? They're not capable of making the decision about marriage. You wanna know why? Because the decision of what outfit a 15-year-old child is going to wear and whether or not they're going to get married is not the same thing. Anyways, that was the end of this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, bye!